I've done the impossible. That is right, everyone. My name is Evan, and I have been 3D modeling for a little bit of time. I set myself up to make the world's greatest Donkey Kong action figure, and after a couple failed attempts and a very, very long, ranty type video, I decided to go again and make DK version 3. We're gonna get into this right now, but I want you to know I win. I did it. I'm the king of literally everything because I know how to make monkeys into toys. I am the god of gods. But anyway, I'm gonna go through my whole process right now. Woohoo, let's get into it. Step 1 is to, of course, crack open everyone's favorite Nomad sculpt. Luckily, I saved all my old DK files, so I get to repurpose these into making new DK. Starting off, his booty was pretty out of shape, so we're trying to fix it up. This ends up being a really weird process where I first tried to keep the entire shape in one and just remesh and mold it around a bunch. That did not end up working, so I actually ended up making half of it look good, then cutting it directly down the middle and then duplicating that and ballooning it together so I could have the two sides. But moving on after that, we get to go to the top part of the chest, which was actually kind of okay. There were a few things I needed to tweak. It was definitely way too thick and also way too long. Like his back arched out kind of like he was a bison or something like that when he's definitely a gorilla. I mean, you know, pretty obvious to tell. But anyway, I had to go in and fill in all these pieces and get rid of all the previous holes in the shoulder plates and where all the other articulation was. But once that's out of the way, it's kind of the same process. But what I did this time was make new shoulders. And if you're one of the few that actually watched the DK1 video, you'll remember that the shoulders and the arms in general were an absolute horrendous nightmare. Luckily, I've learned a thing or two, and now I know how to make shoulders. So as you can see on screen right now, I take a regular quad sphere or UV sphere, I don't remember the change yet. Anyway, I just line up his shoulders to match with the shoulders, except instead of having the shoulder and the bicep be two separate pieces like the first variation, I made the shoulder and bicep connected into one, which was the change I needed to make all along because it actually worked this time and I had no issue whatsoever. So there you go, guys. If you want to make gorillas or honestly any figure at this point, just make the shoulders and bicep into one piece. I know you kind of need arms to swivel, but not this time, so this was actually a really, really good and easy change. But that's the shape I ended up rolling with, and it worked fantastically, and the rest of the arms are a pretty simple process too. Now, since I'm really cheap, which is ironic because these are kind of expensive, but I want to make all the articulation pieces on my own instead of using like ball joints and stuff from Figma or some other company that you can buy off of Amazon. And the way to do that for the shoulder is, as you can see here, I took a cylinder, I lined it up to be the same size as the circle for the shoulder, except I made sure it was thick so that way when we add the peg onto the cylinder, it has enough width that it doesn't snap when we print it. But all I had to do really was just make a cylinder, stretch it to the length I wanted, cut it out of the circle, and then use that as the placeholder for the rest of the joints. Adding in the peg, you can see what I was talking about before, where I just take yet another cylinder, except this one is more length than it is width, and we just gotta line it up to make sure it fits into DK's chest, which was also a very annoying part because I ended up making the peg too long, and his shoulders would actually go over halfway through his chest, so I couldn't fit two of them into him, because, you know, he has two shoulders. So it was this very annoying back and forth process of making it big enough yet small enough to fit, but also big enough so it doesn't break. It was even harder with his knees and thighs and stuff like that because he has a very tiny waistline, and that's awesome body T, but I need my thing to work, so that was a nightmare. But for added support and friction and everything like that, I put more little cylinders on the other cylinder to make sure it's like bumpy. This is actually kind of used in a lot of figures, but well, I did my research, haha, I figured it out. And as much as I would love to be able to make the joints hidden through the pieces, I really can't due to the way I'm manufacturing this. So to make sure I could get the shoulder peg into the shoulder socket, I had to cut an entire hole through it and use a cylinder to peg it through both pieces so that way it would stay intact. I know this kind of leaves some pretty, I don't want to say ugly, but it says noticeable joints. I don't mind them. I was able to cover them up mostly with glue and paint and stuff like that, but, you know, it would be nice if it was just a clean circle, but beggars can't be choosers, or action figure makers can't really complain because I did this to myself. But anyway, it's a process that works, and it works for humans and monkeys, so I'll take it, honestly. I now have these joints pre-made for any other project I need. Hint, hint, hint. Remember that Metroid video I made about Silex? Remember the bad guy in Dread? Anyway, yeah, I have awesome looking joints. I was able to repurpose these for the hips, which is cool. And once I get this done, it's kind of just the process of using this to use on the bicep, and that's cool. Yippee! And this would be how it works. You can see the shoulder bicep one piece pegs and pivots at an entirety of a 90-degree angle, and it can also swivel because that's inside of the body, and that is exactly what we need. Now we just gotta move on to making the forearms, which is connected to the bicep, but like I said before, it's literally using the exact same peg piece I made before and just cutting it into that. A bit of an annoying thing each time that happens when I make a peg is that the cylinder often sits inside of the object instead of clipping all the way through, which makes sense because that's how it's supposed to work. But then I need to go into Nomad and do a bunch of like cutting away, and it's hard to see where all the objects are, and then that does leave pretty noticeable open holes, which yes, are able to be filled in, but again, it's this whole thing. Like you can see here, I need to try and line up a circle using the circle tool, which is really not easy to use. I do figure it out. I only have to do it once per joint because I could just duplicate them over the side, but it was kind of, I don't know, unnecessarily long because it should be simpler, but it really isn't, and it's just this whole thing of trying to get it to look good enough to where it actually functions. And as you can see there, the joint does fit into it and it does work, but there's that very noticeable gap which is able to be filled in, but then you also have the peg which kind of just sticks out, and it's like you can cut it in real life, you can cut it in here, I don't know, it's this whole thing, but it works, and I guess that's the most important part. And it most definitely does work because we can look at this arm right here, and I'm able to pivot that bicep, or forearm, 90 degrees. Oh man, look at that. Of course, it's still a bit weird because it's in the modeling software program, but it does work in real life, I promise. We're not just theoretical this time. Anyway, now we gotta move on to the hands, which, oh my goodness, you guessed it, I recycled the same exact joints as before. And luckily, the hands I made from DK version 2? Or 1. I made them in 1, remade them for 2, and remade them for 3, so it's technically the hands we've had this entire time work the same. I really just gotta fill in the tiny little spot with a circle and then cut it out with this, which actually became a pretty common theme for all my figures after this, is I just use this peg setup you see, that weird like plush shape thing. That's the circle, you know, peg where it articulates, and then the actual peg you put the entire thing through. So I was able to just go back and recycle those a bunch over and over and over. And if you remember from DK version 2, the arms were far too tiny, but that was because I printed the whole thing in really small, but the hands especially didn't even work. It was a nightmare. This figure, I figured it out because I gave the hands a bigger peg, which was interesting because I thought it would honestly look worse. I thought it would be like way more noticeable and it would stick out a bunch, but it really doesn't, so I'm happy that it worked. But it's also annoying because the solution was so simple and I didn't really see it the entire time, but whatever. Moving on, we have an entire arm that's finished. Oh my goodness, wowie zowie. I totally didn't have to go through this and do it for all 5 different hand shapes I made. What do you mean? Anyway, it works the way it's supposed to. I cut out a part of the backside of the forearm so that way the hands can go completely flat 90 degrees on the ground, which is sweet. And then if you don't want that cut there, you can literally just flip the forearm around and then flip the hand around. So it's very, very malleable and able to work and do a bunch of poses, which is awesome. And there you go. See, there's that arm flipped right around. So now you have the full thing with the hand flipped, and you're able to do that in person to hide that little cut, but you can do all the poses you need. Of course, a main selling point of Bananza is that DK can run. So we now gotta remake his legs, which actually was not that difficult. Assembly sucked, but making them wasn't too bad. You can see the process is very, very similar to the arms. It's just now they're in the shape of the legs. Whoa, that's insane. And luckily I did not make 5 variations of his feet, so I only have to use 1 foot. Woohoo, I did it. Yeah, for the knees, I don't know, it's strange because DK has this weird thing where, or at least I wanted to make it so his knee, or I guess his thigh into the knee, that section had a part that would overhang, kind of giving it this like rounded look to it instead of just being this really awkward cut. It's fine, it looks good. It was a bit tricky to figure out just because, you know, the topology was weird because it would hang over and it would be kind of awkward to print and stuff, but it ends up working, so there's really no reason to complain. And I just honestly rounded out the rest of the feet, and the hip attachment is the same as the shoulder, just shrunken down so it fits within the body like I said before. But honestly, the feet weren't too bad. They were actually pretty simple, so hey, I'll take a win, you know. Once that's done, we got about 75% of DK done with his hand and his leg. I did it. Oh my gosh, the hardest part is over because now I just gotta duplicate all of these things and flip them over to the other side. Oh, I didn't really talk about the head. The head was super easy. I just need a bigger ball joint. Yeah, I did it, woohoo. But yeah, once I flip these to the side, that's all of DK sculpted, and we can move on to the printing. And here we are, back in the real world. Ignore my desk. I say this every time. It is an absolute horrid mess, but we have our Donkey Kong. And if you remember, in the Silex video, I made the grand discovery that printing in PETG plastic, PETG, is an absolute godsend, because for whatever reason, that one works better than all other 3D printing filaments made in mankind, but whatever, I'm not going to question it because it works. Anyway, DK is entirely printed in PETG plastic, and as you can see, I sped ran that assembly of his arm, and look at this. Oh my gosh, get ready, get ready, get ready. It works. You see that? It worked. Nothing snapped. I barely had to try to move it. Oh my god, guys, I'm so excited. I can't believe it. I finally get to make a monkey. Anyway, you can see all the pegs and stuff need to be dried, and you know, it works for the legs too. They're a bit like chunky and weird looking. I didn't sand anything down. Ignore that. I'll fix it for the next one, I promise. Just act like it's pretty so you don't hurt my feelings. Anyway, the hands were actually pretty easy to assemble too, because it's just the same thing with the legs and the arms. I will admit, cutting down the pegs were annoying so they could actually fit, but you know what, it was fine. Cutting the hands was an absolute nightmare. Or not the hands, the heads, that sucked, but they're done. DK looks fantastic. You can see his body's right there. But yeah, we're low-key chilling. Oh, and I actually, now that I have all of these accessories, like the, you know, 5 heads and the 10 hands, I kind of need something to contain them, so I wanted to make a barrel. I didn't finish that yet. Pretend like it's done. Oh my goodness, we're painting now. Whoa, so, yeah, painting was kind of hard. I needed multiple coats, which sucked, but I didn't need to prime anything, so that was good. The hands look pretty rough, but don't worry, I figured it out. I was actually pretty good at remixing paints, and yeah, painting his heads was really annoying, because there's no easy way to hold them while they're, like, still wet, so, you know, had to struggle with that, but hey, I got it done, and it looks pretty awesome. Luckily, DK's like 3 colors, but I'll admit, getting around the eyes to do like the black part of his eye sockets, that was not fun. It took a lot of repainting. His body was kind of normal, but yeah, you know, I did it. You can see the eyeball. Whoa, look at that. I'm really good at painting, I guess. It worked out. It was tough. I literally spent like 2 full days not going anywhere, being a chud, laying in my room painting my Donkey Kong action figure made from scratch. But you know, such is the life of a creative, I guess. Anyway, after everything is painted up and dried, whoa, there he is. There's everyone's favorite gorilla, Donkey Kong, DK himself, with some dry brushing effects. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We got all the heads, we got all the hands, we got the whole body, which is low-key easy core because these 2 colors. And yes, all the articulation still works, even though the paint dried. I just had to move it a bunch. And the tie. Well, the tie was annoying, but I figured out using cardboard, I could just cut out the letters and paint them on. Anyway, now we need to seal everything, because if you remember my first Donkey Kong, you know, the paint ripped. That wasn't fun. So I properly covered DK in a bunch of splooge, and we now just gotta wait for him to dry as the Mod Podge seals, and you know, kind of darkens all the colors, but I don't really mind because he still looks good, and this way he's not gonna break apart and the paint's not gonna chip like last time. And there he is. We did it. We finally, after so many months and so many tries and so many hours and brain cells lost, I finally have my working Donkey Kong Bananza action figure. Good lord, this was a nightmare. It's done. He looks amazing. There's DK next to DK Jr. Haha, kidding, that's DK version 1, a relic of my past that I'm never getting rid of. But you can see the improvement, and oh, as a reward, here's some paint peeling for you. You guys like this, right? I don't really know it. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, satisfying. Wow. Oh my. Yep. Well, anyway, we always speedrun the painting parts of this video. I hope this made sense. I'll just let myself peel all this paint away while I give the iconic and dramatic conclusion. And that is us finally finished, and we can move on to the gallery. It's occasions like these that truly call for a fantastic musical track to get you on your emotional spirit, so I'm gonna sing. You know where. Yeah, we're not doing that. I made the monkey. I did it. I learned from the past. I took on the impossible. I said it myself. It couldn't be done. And then when I watched that video, when I watched that video for like the 25th time at like 4 a.m., I said, nah, I could do it better. And I did it better. You can see here, my boy can actually finally hit a pose, and he looks like how he does in the game. I think that's a win. I did it. I made the monkey. It was not too bad, I'll be honest. The part 1 and part 2 carried this. If I never did all those, it would have been an absolute nightmare, and I never would have figured this out. But also, just making such a simple solution as increasing the size and changing the material made it work. Because I'm pretty sure if I did this in resin, one, I would be bankrupt because that would be so expensive, but it also wouldn't work as well as PETG because that's like lighter and sturdier, and I don't even know how it works, I said before, but whatever, it just does. So, I don't know. I guess the moral of the story is this time, never give up, take a break, because I took a pretty long time in between this, but it gave me like time to chill out and think, and, you know, just like experiment, and definitely look for the solutions that could be right around the corner. You know, what's it like, get a different perspective? That's a lesson, guys. You know, just like, you know, try. You know, you'll try. You'll get it done eventually if you keep giving it your all. And I think that's what we learned through DK. Anyway, more action figures to come, more regular videos, hopefully soon. I don't know, I'm running out of things to draw. But anyway, I would like to thank you guys for sticking out all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next one.